Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Prospect Central 101. My name is Chris, and today joining me we have, and we're going to be watching some Penei Sewell with you guys today. Of course, the Lions just ended up drafting him number 7 overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. I know that neither of us were particularly high on Penei going into yesterday. And the draft, and of course, we watched some film with the rest of the group chat earlier as well. But do you have any opinion on just initial reaction that you want to hit on before we go back and rewatch some of this tape on film? Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Then this is a pick for 2024 and 2025 and 2026. Um, and being the future left tackle once Decker leaves in probably 2024, um, unless we decide to extend Decker at that point. Uh, but yeah, in the short term, Brad Holmes already came out and said, "Look, we've got Sewell at right tackle. We believe he's a right tackle. He's going to compete for the right tackle spot for us." Um, and so that's his short term and probably medium term future. I don't think he's going to be switching over to left tackle anytime in the next 3 years, as long as Decker's here. Decker's been one of the best left tackles in the league for the majority of his career now. There was the 1 year he got hurt, which was unfortunate and left us a pretty big hole. Um, but Taylor's been fantastic for us on that left side, especially last year. Last year he was, I believe, one of two left tackles that had 8 straight games without allowing a pressure or a sack, along with Garrett Bowles. So. Hopefully Penny can come in for the sake of the team and make that transition to the right side and kind of bookend this offensive line a little bit. So yeah, that's possible. I mean, it kind of depends on how Taylor Decker does o- over the long term. Because I mean, if we bring him back, there's always a chance that we don't bring Penei Sewell back. There's always a chance that we may not bring Decker back to a third contract. So there's going to be a lot of stuff for us to work out in 4 or 5 or however many years. Uh, but for the next at least 3 years, most likely, barring some sort of injury or other unforeseen circumstance arising, this is going to be our offensive line. We got Decker at left tackle for I think what 6 years. It might have been, I think it was 6 years, but the first year was last year, so 5 year extension. And then we got Jimmy Jackson for at least 3 years, and he looked pretty solid last year. Only going to continue to develop in a full off season, less COVID protocol, more communication with Frank and Taylor, etc. Frank Ragnow got his 5th year option picked up, so he's absolutely, at least should be, if not is, a part of the long-term future of this team. Hopefully he's here. Yeah, hopefully we get the deal done with him this off as early as this off season, before the regular season starts. That'd be fantastic to kind of lock him in. He's already a top 5 center in the league based on what we saw last year. And now we got Penye at right tackle. Hal Vaitai, maybe Tyrell Crosby, maybe. uh, Logan Steinberg, maybe Matt Nelson. All those guys probably competing for the right guard spot. Who knows what we're gonna do there? Maybe we sign another veteran before the regular season kicks off to kind of kick that competition up a notch. I have no idea what we're doing at right guard. At this point, I had to expect it would be Hal Vaitai. I believe he is. Yep, so we'll see what happens with that. And oh man, him next to Sewell is going to be very interesting from a run blocking standpoint because Sewell and Penei, or I mean Sewell and Vaitai are almost literally exact opposites in terms of play style. Vaitai being a very power-oriented, unathletic, uh, phone booth type of guy, and Sewell being someone who likes to run, likes to move, and get out into space, even if that's not necessarily his strongest ability, utilizing that athleticism that he has, which is by far and away his best trait, uh, is definitely something that we're going to have to be looking for. And I think that this is going to be interesting to see how this impacts DeAndre Swift, because DeAndre Swift is someone who really is at his best when he gets out into space, on the flat, on the boundary, get him moving, get him around the end on those stretch plays, on those outside zones, similar to what we saw with Alvin Kamara with the Saints, when Dan Campbell was, for all intents and purposes, their run game coordinator, even though he didn't officially hold that title. That was his main responsibility, was coaching up that run game. So it'll be very interesting to kind of compare Penei Sewell to what we can see from Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk, who were the Saints' offensive tackles for the long term when Campbell was there, and how the that fit is going to be at blocking for DeAndre Swift. So with that said, we have a couple of games here. We have that we didn't watch. We already, of course, watched the Wisconsin and Auburn games on the channel in part one. This is going to be part two. So we have some 2018 tape for you guys, maybe. We'll get into that in a part three. But the main two that I want to watch today are the Cal and Utah games. Because this one is all 22, and this is against a very good Utah defense that I really liked last year. So, with that being said, we'll start with the Cal game and see what's up here. Definitely going to be a much longer film session than a lot of the other ones on the channel because this is a confirmed selection here. We know exactly what we're looking for. We know uh, the, the vision, the team fit, where he's going to be going, where he's ending up, and can kind of break that down a little bit further from a fan perspective here. So Sewell is the left tackle for Oregon, which is one of my initial concerns with him, is that he would need to switch sides to the right side. As mentioned a little while ago, we've already confirmed, rightfully so, that he is going to be our starting, well, not starting, but he is going to be a right tackle for us with Decker locked in on that left side for a very long time, and rightfully so. Give it a second to buffer here. Yep. Okay, maybe it's an actual quality issue. Oh, we'll at least go for 80. There we go. So the main thing that we're going to be uh, talking about as his biggest positive is that athletic ability. Get to see that on a pull here. Nice stride block. Does have some pretty solid core strength as well. Not really going to be something that he needs to spend a whole heck of a lot of time working on when he gets here. The physical tools are absolutely there, which is why he went number 7. Even Holmes said during his pre-draft press or post-draft presser, like, yeah, the reason why we're taking this guy is his athleticism, his footwork, his agility, his quickness, his explosiveness, and all those types of things. This is all upside pick, and this is playing for the long term here. Looked like it was coached missed block there, intentional. The other thing that's really nice about Sewell too is that he does more often than not have a pretty good motor. Not necessarily known for his finishing ability. Not a guy who's gonna, I mean, he obviously can and has showed that he can finish plays, but there's an element of discipline to him too. Not making sure that he plays through the whistle and takes a penalty. But he will if he misses on his initial block or if the play calls for him to pick up a different blocker, he will find someone to block more often than not. And the other thing that we really liked about Sewell too, that Campbell particularly brought up, is the youth element. He's very young. This is his, I think he was 18 as a freshman and 19 in 2019. I think he was born in 2000. Uh, so this is a player who is definitely not anywhere near his ceiling. And yes, there's a lot of projection, even more so when you're talking about a COVID opt-out when we didn't see him this year. Uh, but he's a guy who we very clearly believe in this coaching staff. Hank Fraley did pretty solid with Frank Radnow developing him. Looked to do pretty good work with Johnny Jackson last year. The improvement of Taylor Decker, while not significant, is definitely noticeable and has elevated him into that upper echelon of left tackles in the league. So uh, there's a reason why Kimball came in and he cleaned out a good portion of the Matt Patricia coaching staff. And he decided that the right move was to keep Hank Fraley. And this is going to be a challenge for him for sure. He's got a lot of work to do with still in his technique and fundamentals, but it's very clear that they believe, and Fraley in particular has the confidence in himself to really develop and build on Sewell's technical abilities. Yeah, and there's again a little bit of the motor kicking in at the end, trying to pick up that second blocker. And our scouting staff, obviously we haven't been able to change scouting staffs yet with Holmes coming in January. But this is a guy that our scouting staff that Bob Quinn had was looking at for a long time. This is a guy that we've been really, really looking at from a area scout, from a national scout, from a lower level perspective for a good few years now. This is a guy that we've had pinpointed as one of our top players going back to 2018 with the Bob Quinn crew. This is a guy that I know Jeff Risdon has been talking about. Like, yeah, Bob Quinn, when he was here, he sent several scouts a week to Oregon games. Uh, to see what we were looking at in Sewell. In the case that maybe Decker didn't resign, or we had to franchise him, or whatever else may have happened. Nice initial knockback power, good first punch. Another thing to touch on too is the Oregon system is not exactly conducive to the pro system and that style of play. Oregon is pretty well known for being a more spread uh, type of offense where they ask their players across the board to do things that aren't exactly uh, pro style. So there will be a little bit of an adjustment for Sewell in terms of the playbook and the learning and all that stuff too. I don't think that the playbook element is really as much of a concern in terms of the learning ability. Obviously, if it was, we wouldn't be taking him at 7. Uh, so I think that the mental adjustment from okay, you got to learn the playbook, you got to do this and that, and this is going to be a little bit different for you. I don't think that that's necessarily going to be as big of a problem as we're seeing on tape at times. Uh, but what will be interesting is seeing how he adjusts mentally to that switch to the right side. And there are some issues with guys who are coming in and switching sides who get hurt as a result of that move. We've seen that happen with guys. Isaiah Wing is one of the most notable ones recently, where he came in and Skarnecchia, the Penei Sewell coach, asked him to switch sides, and he tore his Achilles or his ACL in the process. Uh, while trying to change his footwork, he did the wrong thing, and snap, crackle, pop goes the ankle. So that's something that we really had to watch, and hopefully he's going to be able to stay healthy during that process. I don't think he has any injury history or anything like that, but that is going to be something that we really have to be careful about and play safe. That's making sure we ease him in a little bit. But if he ends up turning out like in what we saw from Andrew Thomas last year, I was very high on Andrew Thomas, and he had a very rough start in New York. And then the second half of the year, once in their case they changed the well coaches, but once he hit that kind of second half, adjusted a little bit, got that communication element down, developed a little bit more of the fundamentals, made the adjustments to the pro game, everything else, he really kicked into gear the second half of the year. So maybe that's kind of the situation that we're hoping for with Sewell. Maybe not necessarily the guy who week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 is really kind of that guy for us. Maybe gives up a sack or two over the initial opening weeks, but maybe that week 14, 15, 16, 17 uh, weeks are those games where he's going to be more of a asset for us. I like how he defended that counter move or protected that counter move. Does a really nice job of not overcommitting or undercommitting on that particular rep. Also, very strong anchor is another one of his biggest aspects I've noticed too, for sure. Very, very rarely does he get collapsed. Okay. Really nice executed shove block. Yeah, does a really nice job of staying in front of his guy on that particular play again. And then this play he does overset, and this is again the type of inconsistency that has me a bit worried and lower on him than the majority. Is you see that gap open up pretty clean right there, so oversteps and it results in a hurried throw. Which good job by Herbert to get that out and find the guy, but uh, nice recovery. And again, this is where the athleticism kind of shines, right? Even when he makes these mistakes, where he gets a little bit too far inside, he does end up forcing the guy around the end a little bit, giving Herbert some time to run and throw there. Kind of gets caught up a little bit too far inside on the switch, on the stunt, but he does end up recovering and attempting to keep his quarterback upright. Has patience. The one thing he doesn't do as often as you see some of these other higher end tackles struggle with is he doesn't really get caught moving forward very often, which is a good thing. He will get caught a little bit too far inside or outside on occasion, uh, but you won't really see him be overly aggressive in terms of moving forward and uh, over adjusting, overreacting with that first step. He does have that a nice patience element to his game, where he does do a nice job of being patient, waiting for the lineman to attack, and then setting and adjusting there. So that is one of his better aspects as a pass protector. And yeah, you really get to see the anchor and the functional strength pretty consistently this game so far, which is nice. I think he misdiagnosed that one. Yeah, I think he probably should have kicked out a little bit further and taken the edge, but oh well. Those aren't the types of mistakes that you really see him make more often than not. Most of the time, he is doing a pretty well. Part of that is because they stunted, so that doesn't help either, or at least they faked the stunt. Uh, So the guard Lemieux, I believe, didn't come back around and help either, which doesn't help. And then the center's not blocking anybody either. Uh, so yeah, the mentals are there for sure with Penei too, which is great. Uh, and it's that combination of those mental traits, that recognition and everything else, along with the athletic ability and the physical tools, that really are the most exciting elements about him at 7. Uh, the question is going to be, will he ever develop technically, and refine his game and develop that consistency, as a blocker, from the hand placement to adjusting to the footwork to everything else. The other thing that we see a lot from Sewell too is the screen game. So I wonder if this is a sign that maybe we're going to be running some screen passes, especially with the types of guys that we've tended to target at the wide receiver spot so far this offseason. Obviously, we're probably going to add a wide receiver, hopefully at some point on day 2. Maybe wait till day 3. I would kind of be bit disappointed by that, or upset. But hopefully we're able to find a guy that we like on day 2. Terrence Marshall is still there. He's a guy that a lot of people have been talking about as an option. So adding some guys who are athletic, who are able to run after the catch and create a little bit in space. It's also a very Rams style wide receiver too. We've seen guys like Kupp and Cooks and Watkins and all the other guys that they've gone after in LA, and even in New Orleans as well, with Dan Campbell finding some of those athletes at the wide receiver position. Mike Thomas, known for those shorter routes as well. Jared Goff, of course, when he was in LA. Drew Brees when he was in New Orleans. Like this is definitely gonna be more of a West Coast style of offense, with the occasional top shot to keep defenses accountable, but mainly going to be focusing on hitting those underneath areas. So finding a guy who can get out in space like Sewell can with that athleticism, and do a really nice job of blocking for those screens, is something that no other offensive lineman in the class does at his level. Oh, there's a couple of options though. Uh, that could intrigue. Yep, Rondale Moore with the size issue is obviously a possibility. Later round guy that I obviously like, L1C4, is Tutu Atwell. I love Tylen. I was yelling and screaming and pounding the table for him during Discord chat earlier. Uh, he's the guy that would kind of really make this Sewell pick kind of uh, that home run type of move that everyone else seems to think it is making sure that we land that guy. Or the other option would be Jeremiah. If we were able to land Jeremiah Wusu Kormoa, he's a, he's another guy that would kind of make people like, okay, I can kind of live with Sewell a little bit more, given that we added a first round caliber talent who's going to be able to be productive and doesn't really have as much of a transitional element uh, as Shiok does. Yeah, that's pretty much James' situation for me at this point. Yep. Nice. Nice job of chipping that defender into the interior of the line. Yeah, you're really, this game in particular, getting to see, oh, there's the issue with him. But going back to the play before, you're really getting to see the footwork element that Holmes kept talking about during his press conference, not this one. Way after. You really get to see a really nice, clean, smooth movement. He doesn't ever stop his feet either, which is the biggest difference between him and Darisaw in terms of that footwork element. But then at the same time, you also have the issue with him not. I think that was a shove block after looking at it, but obviously not a good one. Nice transition blocking. Great job of staying in front of this guy. Nice hole open. Good use of angles here to really keep 27s back to the play. You really get to see the arm length too. I know that arm length was one of the things that people were talking about as kind of a negative, and maybe that's part of the reason why he's struggling with the hand placement element. And same thing with Slater. Slater's arms were a little bit shorter as well, but like on this play, his arms don't really look all that particularly short. Uh, so I don't know. The one thing that's really standing out to me so far in this game, I don't know about you, Keeling, is the anchor. Is that something that you're? Yeah, you're not really seeing, especially in uh, a era of football where pocket collapse is becoming more and more prevalent with the mobile quarterbacks, of guys like Lamar and Mahomes and etc. Being able to keep that pocket sturdy in terms of limiting the collapsing pocket, those bull rushers, those power rushers, that's something that seems to be one of his bigger strengths so far in this particular game. Is not giving up that power rush, those bull rushers, and giving up that pocket collapse. He's doing a pretty nice job of keeping the quarterback not even just necessarily clean, but also pretty stable as well. Like yeah, even on this play, like yeah, that was good room for Herbert to run there. He's doing a really nice job of angling him outside as well. So guys who don't have move sets, these bendier edge rushers who are also becoming more prevalent, uh, are not going to necessarily do all that great against him. Yep, that was nice. Nice. And yeah, you're really getting to see those mental traits, the use of angles, the knowing what he's supposed to be doing. That play also very, very well executed on the screen. Nice job of getting out in front of the block, or in front of the back, making the block. Does disengage a little bit early to avoid those holding calls, which is not necessarily my preferred style, given how little holding is called relative to how much it actually happens. Looks like you got somebody there, though. Okay. Really concedes the inside shoulder to free up that boundary. Oops. Oh, okay. So your thoughts so far after watching the Cal game? Yep. Yeah, he's got the mental traits. He's got the football IQ, the play recognition, all those types of things.
Did you know that the average adult has 5 to 20 pounds of toxic poop in their body at any given moment? Seems crazy, right? All that
mainly going to be blocking edge rusher
poop just sitting there, rotting away inside their intestines and colon. Is it any wonder that
whole heck of a lot of adjustment, but he's also got those athletic traits, strength and physicality. So the thing that he really needs to work with is that technical refinement.
Living the dream and trying to get his team to a Rose Bowl tonight. Throws on first down, but an immediate
hesitate and is able to locate that the ball is going to be thrown out quickly. It does not give Jalen Redd a chance to pick him up on a block. That's just great instincts and awareness there, seeing that motion and reacting.
Is this sending a message? Imagine the ball. Second and 11. Herbert's going to keep it more tonight as a flag down. Johnny Johnson back in the game on the second down as Herbert rolls and now cuts it back and shows the speed. He's not a bad
rushing ability to really come after Herbert tonight.
Herbert again, the keeper, giving this defense a lot to think about as he
reacting quickly to the running back. This is not what you see normally from Herbert. This isn't in a Ducks right now breaking tendencies.
And playing fast, and they get Jalen Redd involved in the flat, and he powers forward. Second and 2. DiBilicchio has a crease and a first down.
Defensive ends, they're reading defensive tackle. I mean, think about that. We're going back to Marcus Mariota and Chip.
And a first down throw for the corner. Redd tangled up.
Most underrated player on this defense is 28. They put him out on an island often as that nickel.
Handoff and turning the corner.
Between those two lines.
On 3rd and 2. It's a throw to the flat. Redd has the edge, racing for the pylon. Dive.
With Redd, you'll see him come left to right. See him working there, but they kind of set up a pick. Just a nice block by Johnson with the ball thrown behind the line of scrimmage. He's entitled to be able to make that block, and Redd tries to get to the corner, but it looked like he did, in fact, step out of bounds. Right about the 3-yard line.
Phelan
right there.
Did not play in the game at L. Now when the ball gave a tailback on 1st and go, he's got it, and he barrels in. And
On 4th and 1 against the favored team in a championship game, and you go 9 plays, 67 yards.
we then have to hope that LSU takes care of business. Herbert looking to throw it. First down, it's a slant. Johnny Johnson's
2 drives.
Herbert looking to throw downfield for the first time. Launches. Has Jawan Johnson. He's got it. And Greg Jackson.
As he rolls right, he's just kind of looking to the backside here, looking, and he's finally for the deep play.
And reaching for the goal line.
On tempo here again, trying to slow down this Utah defense. And
really
Herbert.
Rudell from the pistol. Hit hard. Fights.
To try to get it through a gap. Gets off of that block.
Third and goal. And now a pre-snap flag. And this will back up the Ducks 5 yards.
Offense number 48. 5-yard penalty. Remains.
Turns this into a pass play. Habibi Likio's in the game. Herbert rolling to his right. Throws it back. Big man makes the catch. Penei Sewell. We talked about his athletic three. Penei Sewell. And Herbert rolling to his right. Throws.
Where did that come from?
It back. Big man makes the catch. Penei Sewell. We talked about his athletic three.
Okay, so he found a wide receiver.
Play action fake. And Herbert was peeking downfield. Now backpedals and it's incomplete. Just the 10th. And Herbert with the clap drew about 4 Utes offside.
Well, Sewell, the left tackle, moved as well, but I think that was on the
No,
entire.
did you not see the play?
Herbert was peeking down. Herbert rolling to his right.
Remains.
Turns this into a pass call. Habibi Likio's in the game. Herbert rolling to his right. Throws it back. Big man makes the catch. Penei Sewell. We talked about his athletic three. Play action fake. And Herbert was peeking downfield. Now backpedals and it's incomplete. Just the 10th. And Herbert with the clap drew about 4 Utes offside.
Well, Sewell, the left tackle, moved as well, but I think that was on the entire Utah defensive line.
Offense number 58.
The first game he gave up a sack or a pressure all year, and he gave up like what, 6?
4-man rush. Herbert flush.
So you get to see a little bit of a move structure, and he gets beat initially, which makes sense, given that he's not really refined at defending those moves. But you also get to see a little bit of recovery. Now, it does help that Justin Herbert is the quarterback, and he's quite athletic.
Herbert flush, rolling, and scanning the field, delivers a bull
Counter. So.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad will bond. This is the kitchen where the new boyfriend will unofficially become family. These are the
2 picks though, because that could make me feel a lot better or a lot worse.
Johnny Johnson. Johnny Johnson kind of ducks because the ball's going beyond him to Jawan, but you can see Troy Dye in the background. He actually has
sets up a third.
This guy's still there. This guy's still there. This is a guy who could be there for us in 77 or whatever it is, or this is a guy who could be there for us at 101, and so on. So
15. They blitz Herbert. He backpedals. Desperation heaves to nowhere. He's in the tackle box.
And on 3rd down and long, a good call dialed up here by Morgan Scally. You can see Herbert holds on, has nowhere to go with it. And he's within the tackles. And
2-back look. And now flag. And Herbert is hit after the play. Acting sometimes works.
False start. Offense number 54. The contact against the quarterback was not a foul.
No.
So these penalties for the Oregon offense, backing them up, making things tough on the slant, and it's dropped again.
I'm going to tell you, we had Oregon 2 weeks ago. This is the Justin Herbert you'd like to see. He's throwing tight spirals. He's getting the ball out of his hands quickly.
Empty backfield on 2nd and 15. Herbert gets it out quickly, but Johnny Johnson
Knows that something's up, knows that an empty set, the ball's coming out quickly, almost anticipates that throw to John.
Verdell, a long way to go to get the first down, cuts it, fights with the tackle.
Pretty good effort here, and they got to the edge, and you can see what Verdell could do. Blockers blocking, the receivers blocking downfield. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder. You know, you look at him, you think he's undersized. I think he has low center of gravity at 5'9", about 210 pounds.
But that'll complicate things for the offenses. Not heavy rain yet, but being blown around by the wind. Herbert a slant on first down.
Watch how the defensive backs come off of this and bounce off, and instead of the defensive back staying with the receiver, potentially being picked.
And again, Herbert clapping, and 4 Utes smart jumped off sides.
Smart. I mean, in the old days, it was hut, 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 hut. In the NFL, you get that. Nowadays,
number
it's a
99.
clap.
He was in the offensive backfield. That causes the ball to become dead. 5-yard penalty.
Herbert has time, pump fakes, finds Red, and the slot receiver
He sets this up to make them think the screen to the right. The offensive linemen don't get downfield, so he drew the defense to the screen downfield.
Pump fake, lost the ball downfield. Johnny Johnson's wide.
So he drew the defense to the screen downfield.
Keeping the active feet. That's the one thing that's been the best thing to watch about him so far. Well, one of the best things to me so far is making sure
Pump fake.
Those active feet.
Lost the ball downfield. Johnny Johnson's wide open. And nothing with a PAT to come.
Remember, Julian Blackmon goes out of the lineup. The leader, the quarterback, making sure everybody's in position. Everybody's got everybody aligned. Everybody's accounted for. Well, you knew Herbert wanted. He gave a little shoulder, came back to the left, looked off the safety, and then eventually made the throw where John.
He was punching the table in pain, Chris.
Wow. Ducks take over. Verdell cuts it back. He's a senior, if that is the way. Verdell up the middle, and again, in an unfamiliar position. This slack, and we saw R.J. Hubert trying to fill in, but he is nowhere near the safety that the senior is. They get near, fill in, but he is nowhere near
exactly holding the line or anything.
The safety that
and has shown he could do.
The senior.
He's going to move back quite a bit vertically. Well, he's not really giving up a whole heck of a lot of space laterally. Throckmorton, I believe, is 54. He's the guy who really kind of forces Herbert into Sewell a little bit here.
They get near quarterback 6 to keep the drive going. Herbert fires across the middle, catch made, but short is the back. And Verdell has it, and he's got a first down.
And it's actually where Verdell ends up cutting back underneath. See that contact?
First down.
And it's actually where Verdell ends up.
Boom, right here.
Cutting back underneath. See that contact? That's a receiver coming in motion, taking care.
Fake it to Habibi Likio. Herbert looking down the seam for Johnny Johnson.
We get a break here to be able to show it to you again. This is a thing of beauty, and you love to see a receiver that never gives up on a ball. Watch him locate, comes back. That ball almost looked like it goes off of the back of Nurse, and he uses that as almost a backboard to help make the catch. Adjustment back. Nurse never sees the ball, but Johnson, to his credit, did.
And again, Blackmon, who's at center field position, not in there. Hubert trying to fill in. His hometown in Tempe wasn't enough, but tonight continues his hot streak. First and goal for Oregon, trying to really put the number 5 team in a deep hole.
False start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They're going flanking Herbert, who rolls to his left and looks in the flat. Now he's going to pump fake, come back, fires for the end zone, flag down. Johnson was
back to Johnny Johnson, grabs
prior
a
to
hold
the pass,
of it.
Holding. Defense number 14.
See, he's right here, he gets shot. Right there, he's like, oh boy, grabbing onto everything he can find.
And include an automatic first down.
Officials all over that.
Ducks have already gained more yards against the back in the pistol formation. Johnson comes in motion. Habibi Likio is hit immediately and stopped for no second and goal. It's Red who comes in motion. Herbert looked that way, now flips it across the middle.
This play right at the beginning, just kind of faking the red, but everything's covered downfield, and I was surprised.
And they flag before the snap. Right. Their miscue.
Prior to the snap, false start, 54 offense. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
They've had 3.
Juwan Johnson's to the left. Herbert looking across the middle and almost
underneath it. Watch him work to get underneath. Route comes underneath. See how he's there? They got him bracketed. And Burgess does a good job of not just staying in position and having great leverage, but turning his head. The only thing he didn't do is obviously catch the ball, but in great position there.
Had a chance to make a play this
half with their play calling.
Riddell knocked down physics. And they have to be looking in with some surprise as well. This unit has looked off balance and out of sorts tonight. Riddell has a crease and a quick burst and a first down. Bibilikio, well, they fake it to him. Herbert fooled me off if LSU is able to hold serve and beat Georgia. This is the Bibilikio knocked down. So with the entire country wide
open receivers.
5 catches for Johnny Johnson in the first half. Dye, who's spun down.
Pull back at all. I think they're going to continue with that same game plan that Molly just talked about.
Dye cuts it back, knocked down after a 2-yard gain. Jalen Red still in the backfield. Herbert very well protected. Chance to survey the field all kinds of time. Herbert very yard gain.
How many reps when he is, and as we talked about between the two of us in the group chat and everything else, one of his biggest issues is staying engaged.
Jalen Red still in the
because
backfield.
He's doing a fantastic job the entire duration of this play.
Very well protected.
Active
to survey the field all kinds of time, and now overthrows Juwan Johnson.
And you're right, he had all kinds of time. I think he may have grabbed onto the jersey. That's what Juwan Johnson indicated anyway. He has the time, and see right there.
What do you call that route?
He pulls different attitude.
The pick it to Johnny Johnson. Herbert lofts it over the head.
Utah on their heels with an aggressive attacking mindset. They need to maintain that.
Riddell spun down to the 20. And the ball is snapped. Herbert wasn't ready for it. He has to dive and fall at the 1-yard line.
Jake Hansen thought he had actually called for the snap. See, he moves up. That's what they call, and they waved off. But now it's a free-for-all. Anai gets to Herbert, hits him hard right as he covers the ball. Look at his eyes. Last thing he's thinking about is the football. Makes a check. Ball snaps. Whoa! Right near his own goal line.
Just recovered it in the field of play, barely to avoid a safety. And Anai delivered a forearm shiver.
Little follow.
Oregon's 3rd, 4th and shorts, top of the night. Gets him the football back at midfield. A chance to regain momentum. The Utes had claimed it. Riddell busts into the clear. Makes another tackle. And barrels for a 20.
Watch him 55 punch right there. That kind of gives him. Riddell doesn't need a lot of room.
Utes are down 2 safeties. Hubert out of the game. Blackman was hurt, injured early. Herbert has time. Lofts it downfield over the head, and Red couldn't come up with it.
Play off. And then just burst right by him.
Look. And now Dye motions out. It's Riddell running for the corner and hit hard, but spinning, and
threw it for the
Dye motions out.
Right by him.
Look. And now
the line here.
Dye motion
finding his pull space.
Out. It's Riddell running for the corner and hit hard, but spinning and fighting, and it's a first down.
Riddell a chance to get those extra yards.
Riddell with 92 yards, over 1,000 yards, just like his freshman year. Now Herbert keeps it. Big fella. Look.
He collapsed just enough for him to be able to pull it. He feels he can get it. Utah's in surprise.
2nd and 2, Red in motion, and the throw was behind by Oregon. Ducks need 2. Riddell into heavy traffic. That time, Dye goes in motion. Riddell takes the handoff, and he'll be knocked down.
With energy.
There's a run blitz. Riddell goes right into it. Whittingham aggressive by Nick. Utes crowd the line. Herbert has
Yeah, there's an example where the athleticism and the quickness, especially the lower half, really comes into play. You really get to see him go
crowd the
all
line.
the way out here.
Herbert has protection. Lost it downfield, but a poor throw. But
Nowhere to go but take a chance. There's in the background that tight coverage. He had nowhere to go but throw it downfield to Addis.
able to draw the Utes offside with a clap as a free play. Works it underneath.
Hesitant the next snap. See that hard clap? Again, any line.
Been burned about 3 times on that tonight.
Yep.
Now on second and short, they're going to throw for it. For Bo Nix through a touchdown pass in the last 30 seconds.
To quit football, so they turned to 20 Lloyd to take over after they lost 2 outstanding.
Burdell shakes off a tackle at the line of scrimmage. Another one of those plays where the line of scrimmage battle is in sharp focus. Burdell right up the middle, breaks free. C.J. Burdell aiming for the end zone. Can they run him down? No! Touchdown!
Lloyd, watch that right guard. Watch his block. Boom! Buries him and opens that hole up. And there's the speed.
Tomorrow at noon Eastern time for a CFP bid. Unless Georgia
on behalf of the
bid.
Here.
Unless Georgia
on behalf of the Georgia winner of the Big 12 championship, whether it's Oklahoma or Baylor, is the 4th team. How about Matt Rule?
Underdog in that game. Herbert rolls out on 3rd down and delivers a low throw. Nice job. The seedings where they are, 1, 2, 3. Should Ohio State, LSU, and Clemson all win.
And that's a big
set the tone physically. A 4th down stop on Utah's opening series. They went right down in there.
Yeah, I thought leading into that game, I thought the winner of this game, if they both showed up with 1 loss, the winner's going to go into the playoffs. Have a great shot. We singled out a few guys, Thibodeau and some others, but it was really the entire defensive line, the way they played.
Herbert with the keeper. He kept it early to kind of keep the in here. Burdell breaks free, and another house call to punctuate.
This oceanside Verbo is about to become the backdrop for an unforgettable vacation
So anyway, while this ad's going, Keelan, you have any thoughts?
memory. One of the rare
You see the center work, opens it up, and look at 68 working. 2 different defenders he occupies there, including the
Yes, there's 2 more games out. So a little bit of our talk today. So try to grab home. Just the way falls the way that the national hunt into going into day 2 tomorrow. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people around the fan base that are quite excited and happy about the pick, and even the national media seems to be very high on our selection today. Uh, so hopefully they are proven to be correct over time, and find success adjusting and switching over to the right side, because we haven't seen him in quite a long time now. It's been 15 months plus since we've seen him play a live game. So hopefully we find that adjustment and are able to successfully transition him over to that right tackle spot. So, with that being said, Keelan, do you have anything else that you want to add about the Sewell pick or your hopes, expectations going into day 2 tomorrow? Yeah, if we go linebacker tomorrow, it's most likely going to be because it's a date best player available situation. Like, for example, maybe we have a first on JOK, uh, or something similar to that, like along those lines, where he's the best available player. So that gives me a little bit of optimism there. And same thing with safety. Safety is another spot where, oh boy, we are looking at Dean Marlowe and Will Harris as our second and third safeties right now. Um, and I'm not even gonna lie, I hadn't even heard of Dean Marlowe until we signed him. And Will Harris is honestly probably closer to being cut than being a starter, at least in terms of my evaluation on him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with the safety group. A guy like Trayvon Moyrig, a guy like Javon Holland, maybe double dipping with Oregon players, and going back to that. Well, again, tomorrow could be an option there. Another option could be a nickel corner. Our starting nickel corner right now is Corn Elder, and that's literally it. No backups. And Corn Elder had, I think, a 1 RAS score. So he's not exactly someone who I think is going to be a short-term or a long-term fit for us that we're particularly pleased about. Uh, so that is something to keep in mind too, is that nickel corner spot, the safety 2 and 3 spots, third safety spot maybe not as important, but the safety 2 spot in particular, and uh, and linebacker spot other than wide receiver are options for us tomorrow, and maybe even a tight end. Uh, Obviously, we talked about going Pitts at 7 if he were to have fallen. That is a very interesting situation there. Is maybe we have like a guy like Fryermuth uh, and decide to snatch him up instead of a wide receiver and build on that 12 personnel look. So I don't think it would really be all that negative. I think Sewell kind of has the fan base right now, or at least the general fan base, and a pretty positive mindset going into day two. uh, where the majority, where is okay, like for me, it's more so about, okay, who are we going to get to kind of supplement that as someone who's a little bit more safe, a little bit more secure, a little bit going to be more that guy who we can kind of count on to be a day one starter for us with a little bit of consistency, reliability, where there's less projection. I think the rest of the fan base right now is thinking the opposite. And like, okay, is this the guy who's going to be the best player for us in 3 years? Because that's what Sewell is about, right? Is he's going to be the guy that's the best player for us in 2023 or 2024, 2 or 3 years from now? Uh, are we going to be taking a guy who, and the second day, who's going to be the best guy for us 2 or 3 years from now? So I think that that difference in mentality is going to be a factor there, and for sure. And it's something that I think the front office is kind of going to be contending a little bit with, but uh, it'll be interesting to see what direction that we choose to go in terms of are we going to be building for finding the guys who are going to contribute to the team as day one starters and be the biggest upgrades to the 2021 team, or are we looking more in the direction of the 2022 and even more so 2023, 2024 years? Uh, so that's going to be interesting to kind of follow there. Which is why I thought we were going to end up going wide receiver. Unfortunately, Waddle and Chase were both gone, which I think is really what we were looking for if we were to go wide receiver early. I do think that we do know that we need a wide receiver, uh, but we weren't particularly high on Devontae Smith. Uh, Tony was not going to be grading higher than Penei. Bateman, I don't think we particularly liked as much as other people thought we would either. I'm not necessarily sure that he would have been a lock at 41 like people thought, and he's already gone anyway. He certainly wasn't an option over Penei. So, uh, the board kind of fell to where it was pretty much setting up to be Sewell or Slater, and like even I talked to you guys about this in line chat pretty much all week. Like, yeah, it's getting to the point now where we're kind of owning in on Chase probably number one, Pitts probably number two, and Sewell probably number three. And if Sewell goes to six to Miami, we're probably looking at Slater number four over Waddle at five. Uh, and I think that that's exactly what happened. We saw Chase go five like we thought. We saw Pitts go four like we thought. That took the two guys that we were taking over Penny off the board. And that's why Holmes said, like, yeah, this is a top three player on our board. I think the top two were pretty clearly going to be Chase and Pitts. Uh, and Sewell was that number three guy. And then it would have been interesting to see what happened between Sewell and, or not Sewell, between Slater and Waddle. I think it we probably would have ended up going with Slater, uh, but either way, we got one of our top five players in the class that made sense. So Tang and Horn were a little bit of wild card options. That could have kind of thrown a little bit of a wrench into things, especially if we had traded back. I think Horn and Sertain may have been respectable options. Uh, but yeah, and even Lance, I do think Lance would have been a potential option as well. I don't think we would have taken him over Penei. I don't necessarily think we would have taken him over Slater, and I certainly don't think we would have taken him over Chase or Pitts. But he would have been an interesting option as well if he were on the board to kind of see where we slotted him at. But yeah, I think things kind of worked out the way that they wanted it to, and that's why the front office was so excited. And I don't know if you saw the War Room, Keelan. Did you see that? That yeah, there was a lot of excitement about Sewell falling. Uh, And Holmes even said, like, yeah, or I think it was Campbell. Campbell even said, like, yeah, we thought Sewell was going to go number six. He was the guy that we kind of had targeted. Like when Miami was up, we knew that Sewell was going to be our top target, uh, and he ended up falling to us. And we knew once Miami turned in their pick that it was going to be Waddle, that that Sewell was going to be the guy for us. So yeah, I definitely think that there was a genuine excitement about that, and especially Holmes. Like we see a lot of excitement over the Quinn picks, and who was it? I think it was the Tracy Walker pick that kind of stands out as the guy who Quinn and Co were really most excited about during their tenure here. And I think we saw Holmes more excited than we ever saw Quinn, or especially MP, about a pick. So hopefully we get to keep that same enthusiasm and excitement and the board falls the way that we want it to on day two. So with that said, I'm gonna finally be able to eat something. I got some B-dubs. I've been in the Discord all day on video and now I'm doing this, so no real break for us today, but hopefully be able to watch the actual broadcast versions of the draft and enjoy some B-dubs and get ready for day two tomorrow. What about you? Oh, yuck. Good stuff. Well, hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay safe, especially with all the COVID stuff going around. A good portion of you guys watching are probably from Michigan, if you're Lions fans or whatnot. So, Michigan, of course, not in a very good situation right now in terms of COVID. So, make sure you guys are staying safe, staying healthy out there, and 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 protecting yourselves, and enjoying the rest of the draft process. So. With that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and stay safe. But for now, see you guys back again tomorrow for day number two.